February the 23rd, primroses and violets. Primroses, Primula vulgaris, with their pale yellow flowers and slight mossy scent, are at last starting to appear. In the past, they were much more common, with double white and green forms, all to be found in wild in various parts of Kent. 17th century botanic gardens boasted purple, blue, white, double, and even red primroses. There were other curiosities such as Jack in the Green, where the flowers have a small green ruff, and Hose in Hose, when one flower seems to come out of another, as well as jackanapes, which had a striped ruff around its flowers. This, the first flower of spring, is much loved and has been written about by poets such as Shakespeare, Chaucer, Clare, Keats, and Coleridge, the latter of which wrote, "Thy smiles I note, sweet early flower, that peeping from thy rustic bower, the festive news to earth dost bring, a fragrant messenger of the spring." Nowadays, few wild flowers have suffered so much as primroses from chowl thieves. True primrose woods and banks are all but gone in London, many now lost to scrub. Railway embankments in cemeteries, such as Morden Park Cemetery, is where they may still get noticed, as well as the Reigate area, particularly St. Catherine's Churchyard. At Wisley, the early purple Caucasian primrose, Primula Sibthorpii, first introduced in 1638, may be seen, with Primula acaulis, variety rubra, and Primula giga, another attractive early white primrose. Other rare primroses can be found in the Savile Gardens. Queen Victoria and her Prime Minister Disraeli shared a mutual interest in wild primroses. She sent a wreath of them to his funeral, and this interest led to the Primrose League and then on to Primrose Day. The flowers have been candied since the 17th century, and at one time the juice of the stems was used to remove unwanted freckles. Wild violets also start to appear in February, usually towards the end of the month. These are normally the sweet violet, Viola odorata, common dog violet, Viola riviniana, the hairy violet, Viola hirta, and the early dog violet, Violet rackenbacchiana. Of these, the first two are the earliest. Later, there will be more species and their identification will become more difficult. In the wild, violets are normally found along woodland edges and on calcareous grassland. But as they are so loved by gardeners, it is in gardens we normally see them first. Sweet violets are the most famous of all. They seed easily and also reproduce by runners. This is the only violet with a perfume, which explains why you should always smell the first violet of the year that you encounter. The flowers produce a substance called ionine, which quickly dulls our sense of smell. This can be tested by smelling violets until their scent disappears. Then, after a pause, smelling them once again. The smell returns and then is lost again. Laertes described this well in Hamlet when he says, "A violet in the youth of primy nature, forward not permanent, sweet not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute no more." Hairy violets are more restricted than the sweet ones, growing mainly in short grassland on the southern edge of London. They have slightly narrower leaves, no fragrance, no runners, and usually flower a week or two later than sweet violets. To confuse the issue further, there is a hybrid, Viola permixta. Both hairy and sweet violets are best looked for among the soft turf on the North Downs, for example around St. Martha's Hill. A subspecies of the hairy violet, Viola hirta subspecies calcarea, is probably the most likely to be found. If larger scentless violets are found in woodland this month, they are going to be either the common dog violet or the early dog violet. The first has two long petals which look like ears, and the second a set of white hairs not unlike a moustache. Colours of violets confuse any identification, as they can be white, going through various shades of mauve to blue. Sadly, the violets sold in bunches across London are invariably coarse, vigorous, unscented hybrids, yet equally large, highly scented violets of garden origin can still be found occasionally in the wild, for example, along the towpath near Lonsdale Reservoir.